I'm curious, Mike. Were you the guy? Trumpet players have a reputation. Since we both are one, I'm going to go ahead and feel safe in saying this out loud in front of you. Uh, and I tease people all the time when I'm helping a beginner get their instrument. I say, "What are you playing?" And then I challenge them to their personality types. And I think the reputation of the trumpet player is, "Oh yeah, watch this," or you know, "Look how good I am," or "How much better I could do that." And I've got to be honest to you, I don't know that I was actually ever that guy. That I spent a lot of my time, and I don't know exactly what it is or what it was, but I was actually like, any minute now, everybody's going to figure out I'm not a good musician. I'm not a great trumpet player, and I it created some anxious moments. I realize this is not a really upbeat.
Some.
This is not a really upbeat way to start a podcast or an episode. But do you relate to what I'm saying at all?
Oh yeah, and I'll just kind of throw out the not most people. Most people don't know this, but Derek, are you familiar with the official trumpet player's handshake?
I don't guess I am.
You must really be an imposter. So you shake their hand and you look over their shoulder, hoping there's a mirror so you can see yourself.
So you can see
better. That's the official trumpet player. The Phi Beta Mu one. Oh, Phi Beta Mu is going to kill me for this one. The Phi Beta Mu handshake is to shake their hand and look over their shoulder convention for someone more important. So you Phi Beta Mu guys, you can give me hell. I'm a member. I'm a member, so I know.
I are one. Yeah.
I are one. I know the official handshake. Oh yeah, he's a lot more important than you. Give me a
Say
second.
bye.
Bye. Bye. I've got more important people in my life now. Okay. Enough of that crap.
But
Okay.
that anxiety of living up to an expectation,
And
was
that
crucial to
anxiety
me.
is a daily process. It comes to the first note of the solo and the last note of the solo. It comes to everything we do in life to a certain extent. And this whole podcast, I've got to be really honest on this. It came from almost what I meant to be kind of a comical post on social media.
Okay.
I put a little post about I've lived my life in high functioning anxiety. And it kind of gave the ideas behind it and the imposter syndrome and, ha ha ha, this is how we all survived. But I had like 30 to 40 responses
Yeah.
by band directors saying, oh my gosh, this is my life. And then I had another 20 to 30 private messages, direct messages through Messenger on Facebook saying, oh my gosh, this hit a nerve. This is
Yeah.
me daily. And so I thought, this needs to be a podcast.
All right.
And I've avoided it, Derek. You know why? Because it'd be me.
I dare say.
And I've said this before we got on the air, but it's high functioning anxiety is what pushed me out of the business into retirement.
Wow.
It is. It is. And I say that with a smile because I don't want to cry on camera. Okay. but the high functioning anxiety, it's a real deal. Let's talk about it first. Here's the blunt definition.
Okay.
And by the way, this is not a medical condition. There's no medical term called high functioning anxiety. It is merely a description.
Okay.
More of a therapy description. So there's not like ADHD and OCD and you know what I mean? There's actually terms for that. This is not a medical term, but we suffer greatly. Okay. High functioning anxiety. I'm just going to read it, which means you get things done while mentally spiraling in the background. You show up, look composed, but inside it's constant overthinking, second guessing, and low, sometimes high key panic, dressed up as being on top of things. It's like living in chaos that no one else can ever see. We keep it hidden, Derek, because it's all happening behind a polite smile and a to-do list.
You stepped all over my toes on that one, buddy.
Now, everyone in my listening universe is right now turned off this podcast because their heart is hurt.
Sure.
Nerves have been trampled on. Or they've just jumped down the rabbit hole with me and said, tell me more, Mr. Mike. Tell me more.
But, I kind of define it in real time as so many things hitting so fast that you're just kind of throwing out your best gut reaction to most of it, all the while trying to look like you're in control and leading. And sometimes you wonder if we all got there, that's grace of God. So
Yeah. And I tell you what, it's a defensive way of living, isn't it?
yeah,
We're just kind of reacting to everything that happens to us. And there's lots of professions and careers, whether it be a paramedic, a fireman, a policeman, a doctor. There's lots of careers that operate that this is an important thing. And I always think, you know, I don't want to do the work, but I'm sort of jealous of the guy that does roofing
I
because I worked for Academy for 6 months, worked at the gun bar. That's what they
yeah,
call it. What a crude name for a place to sell firearms.
yeah,
The gun bar. We couldn't call them weapons. We had to call them firearms because weapons are
sure,
derogatory. But
sure,
I worked there. That was the least anxious job I've ever had in my life because every question had an answer. If I
yep,
didn't have the answer, I just turned to my monitor or I turned to my lead and said, "Hey, what about this?" Or I went to my store manager. Nothing was my problem.
right,
Nothing.
yep,
When I clocked out at the end of the day, guess what, Derek? I went home and nobody called me. Nobody sent me an email. Nobody expressed a problem. No one was having emotional distress on the job. I
yeah,
just clocked in on my little computer. And at the end of the day, I went to the front of the store and I clocked out on my little computer and I got in my little car and I drove home and I completely ignored Academy Sports and whatever. And they did not exist for the next 17, 20 hours.
sure,
And I went back. Band directing, much like preaching, it's a 24-hour thing. If you're not careful, you'll start answering emails at 6 in the morning and you'll be answering them at 11 at night. By the way, don't do that. But
yep.
you will be, you will be if you're not careful. Okay.
Well, I can even relate that I started as a young man in the music retail industry as a repair person.
Hmm.
And so my social interaction was typically with inanimate objects, and sometimes they spoke back. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It turned into what I considered at the time as tedious,
Yeah.
as not as important as some of the other positions. Although I have learned that if there's not a good repair tech, we're all screwed, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
But I had to get out there, and I went into the sales side, and there are several days now that I'm like, talk to the owner of our company and said, "Can I please just go back to being a repairman?"
Yeah.
Where I set that horn down at the end of the day, I clocked out, I went home, and that horn was waiting for me the next day, but it didn't call me all evening going, "Hey, we got an issue."
So true. And I tell you what, kids would always ask me on this, but they would notice at the end of the day, I had a tiled band hall and it was really big. I mean, it was the size of a gymnasium. And I would take this big giant dust mop it was like 4 foot across. So the custodian let me have it for my dust mop. It hid behind the door. Okay. And I would dust mop the entire band hall floor every afternoon. And kids would go, "Why do you do that?" And my answer was always two things. One, it's probably the most constructive thing I've done all day. Number two, it's highly repetitive. In a weird way, it's kind of relaxing. I
Right.
just go down that swath and I turn and I come back.
You see the
And I
result.
turn and I come back and I see the results and I put it all aside. I get my little dustpan and go chick, 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 and I dump it in the trash can and I put my dust mop up and my heart rate's lower and I get in my truck and I drive home. And I
I
know
turn my brain off. Yeah.
that sounds so stupid. Some people play solitaire on the computer. Some people do video games. We all have our coping mechanisms.
Right.
Some people smoke like a chimney. Some people are alcoholics. I hate to be so
Right.
blunt, but some people jump into the bottle as soon as they get home, you know?
Yeah.
So we all have our ways of coping. Some it's healthy, some it's unhealthy. I would dare say probably all of our coping mechanisms in a way are kind of unhealthy.
Here,
You
say if
know,
we're having a coping mechanism, there's
there's
an
some
issue.
trauma. There's trauma going on. Okay. So here's the paradox,
Okay.
it's a state of being outwardly composed and productive.
Right.
Oh, he's a great band director. While internally feeling a constant undercurrent of anxiety, worry, and self doubt, always second guessing ourselves and our decisions. Easily said, it's the imposter syndrome.
Yep.
Are they going to figure out today that I don't really know what I'm doing?
Is this the day? Yeah.
Even on this podcast right now, I'm thinking, is this the day that someone's going to send me an email and said, you don't understand this in the least? High anxiety. Here's how it works.
Right.
Am I imposter syndrome function right now? Okay. And I think Derek, I know you well enough. You know me well enough. Here's another one, and I'll kind of jump around a little bit. We tend to be people pleasers.
Yep.
We go to great lengths to please others. We fear criticism because in music, criticism is criticizing our heart and soul, isn't it?
Right.
I don't know if accountants feel that way with a spreadsheet. If you tell them their Excel sheet is incorrect on their for an accountant, does that really hurt their soul? Maybe it does.
Sure.
But I would
Yep.
dare say that if you critique my trumpet solo work, that hurts my soul, but I'll still take it. I'll still
Because
take
you're
the
actually kind of
I'll give it.
criticizing who we think we are.
Yes, yes, that's our baby, man. You're that's us. That's not just a spreadsheet. That's us.
Right.
Now, an accountant might blow back and go, "Our spreadsheet is our baby," and I can respect that. I just don't see it that way because I'm not an accountant, and it is one of my biggest faults. I've wasted so much energy. Um, and people out there, and Derek, have you wasted 15 different scenarios in your mind interpreting what someone said to you
Oh, yeah.
when you have
I'm
no idea what they really even meant? And then when you talk
exactly.
to them the next day, not only do they not even remember saying it, but if you ask them about it, they go, "Oh no, I was just wanting to get the letter B in the first tune."
Curious say, it was innocuous.
Yeah, I'm like thinking, were they criticizing my ability to rehearse my ensemble? Were they? I'll
Yeah.
just go through 15 scenarios of how was I being attacked?
Is he subtly trying to tell me I don't know how to teach?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was that a passive aggressive attack on my soul? so, so we've got to fight that, and it's easier the older I get. The more someone says something that strikes me wrong, it's like
Yeah.
screw them.
Right.
I
But
know what I know, and I know what I know well, and it's all that I know right now.
we're
So
laughing, but it's funny because it's true.
it's true. It's true.
And you're right. The farther into this I go, I've actually gotten to this point. I may be dead wrong, but it's the only way I know how to do it,
It's the
and
hill
it's
I'm
got
going
me
to
this far.
die. And that ties right in. Perfect segue, my brother. It
Okay.
ties into perfectionism. Individuals with high functioning anxiety often have very high standards for themselves. And this is really weird of high standards for certain parts of their life.
Right.
They
Not
might
all
have
of it.
they might have the cleanest performing musical band in the world, and their car looks the front seat looks like a landfill. You'll have 500 Taco Bell wrappers with chili still on them. Their car will smell because
Yeah.
that's not an important perfectionist activity for them. And they'll be harsh critics on their own performance. They'll also be harsh critics on what's important to them as they transfer that perfectionist onto kids in the band program because our music's part of us. Weakness in music is weakness in us. And
Let
that's
me
a one to remember.
let me throw a quick example, non-musical at you.
Yeah.
But I love to spend time out with my grill. A large
Okay.
part of our menu is stuff that I grill.
Yeah. I like that.
And
When do
so
I
I
come
have
over?
you've seen me in action,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be able to recognize what I'm about to say. I spend more time after I've cooked it, even though I've done everything the way I think I'm supposed to do it. I spend more time asking everybody, "Is it okay?
Yeah.
Did it turn out all right? Is it the
Yeah.
way you want it? Oh, I'm sorry if it's undercooked, or I'm sorry if I overcooked it." Instead of enjoying the process and enjoying the result, I spend all my time thinking, "This really isn't I just wasted." You know what I mean? I waste so
Yeah.
much time worrying about whether everybody else approves of what I did.
And I'm the same way. And I've seen you in action. We were that big thing out at the ranch.
Yep.
It was like, instead of waiting for someone to compliment, it was like, can I, if it's not done enough, I can cook that steak a little more. Or there's other steaks still on the tray that aren't as well done. Is that too well done for you? And, you kind of grilled us all 20 questions to make sure we had the right chicken and the right steak,
And it's
which,
and it
which is awesome, by the way. It's
yeah, but at the
awesome.
same time, how am I
It's
gonna
a lot of
please
wasted
20
energy.
people?
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's fun.
us perfectionists and people pleasers, and I'll do that, and then people will eat that piece of steak and they'll crunch on it and they'll swallow it down. That's great, Mike.
I love it.
Excellent job. And they'll go out to the car thing and go, my God, that was like a piece of leather. So not only do we waste time on that scenario, we waste time complimenting the bad cooking technique of Mike Lunny. It just goes on and on. It's like peeling an onion, man. It
Right,
just
and
there's
I
no end
realized
to our stupidity and band and life in general.
but even in that instance, I tried to brine some chicken just so everybody knows. I thought I was gonna be really,
Oh,
and I'd never tried it before.
there we
And
go.
one of the guys in it was like, "This is the saltiest piece of chicken jerky I've ever tasted." But at least they were on it. But then
Yeah,
you beat yourself up over that. "Oh,
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
terrible.
how
I'm
stupid of
horrible."
me. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Right. So
But
back
no,
to your musical presentation.
no, probably people got more out of that 5 minutes than they do on anything that I talk about. There's probably people going, "Hey, okay." Oh, but that's a constant worry, persistent feeling of anxiety, especially on game day. If you're listening to this on a Friday, turn it off. Come
Wait
back
till
to it.
Monday.
Wait till Monday. This is just going to cause you to go. You're going to go over the edge, man. Excessive worry. We worry about everything that might happen, could have happened, happened last year, even when external circumstances don't even warrant it.
Right.
All the coolers are iced down and everything's already on the trailer. Did I get all the coolers? Are all the coolers stored correctly? Did the load crew do it correctly? Yeah. Oh my God, it never ends. It becomes a
Right.
very negative in what we think. And that becomes another coping mechanism, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We have all these various to-do lists in our head. One coping mechanism, which I think hopefully it's positive. I hope so because I do it all the time.
Uh-huh.
Is to-do list. I probably have 20 to-do lists on my phone under reminds, and
Right.
it's everything from when I pack my suitcase to go on a clinic where I'm staying in a hotel. I just have to check off everything I pack.
Right.
I don't have to think about it. So I do the same thing with load crews and everything else, and they do it too. Okay, burnout. Despite appearing, I mean, Mike Lunny kicks butt. I
Sorry.
lo I
Did that go did you hear that?
you you should have paused at least 5 seconds. Now my imposter syndrome is at 100%. Okay. So we do our best to appear to kick butt. We
Right.
do. But that effort required to manage anxiety while maintaining high functioning can lead to significant exhaustion and burnout.
You say,
Oh my
I'm gonna
god.
tell you that I think a majority of health issues are related to stress, anxiety, and just worrying if we're enough.
Yeah. And we're so much in dealing with people all day as a band director and in your job dealing in music service industry that aren't there times that you have to literally recharge by no one saying a word to you.
Exactly.
You go home for 4 hours and just listen to Metallica
Well,
and sip
listen,
on a beer and just go for 4 hours. I'm going to turn my phone off and I'm going to lock the doors. I'm going to lay down on my porch and I'm just going to let mosquitoes bite me because I don't even care anymore. I'm just going to recharge for 4 hours.
38 years into this marriage that I'm in, she is awesome. She's amazing, mostly understands me.
Yeah, she's the
She
better half, no doubt.
she knows now that I enjoy time with her. There are times when we sit on the couch and don't talk.
Yeah,
There's and there are times that this is every day. She knows that when she's ready to retire, she does that. She used to say, "Are you gonna come to bed?"
yeah,
"No, I'm not." I will sit by myself in the quiet for 30 minutes to an hour. I say decompressing or just letting the brain wind down from that high spin into a place. Because if I don't, I'll just lay in bed and rehash everything.
yeah.
So,
And for me, it wasn't all the activity that I had to do and all the teaching I had to do and all the logistics as a band director. It was not having enough time to recharge.
right.
It kind of drove me over the cliff. And since I've retired and I work I mean, slap me through the radio, but or the stream. But I'll work 3 days in a week and then I'll have 4 days to recharge.
Yep.
It's so nice. My recharge is going and throwing a football at my grandsons as they jump on a trampoline and seeing if they can catch it or if I can hit them in the face. That's my recharge moments. So that I didn't have that. I didn't have,
Right.
and I could see you and your wonderful wife sitting on a couch, not saying a word, and sending each other memes and side eyeing each other to see if they smiled. Am I
Right.
right?
It happens.
Yeah, y'all are at that age. When you're young, for you young band directors, you worry about whether your wife or significant other is energetic and frisky and happy. You get to a certain age, you just kind of want them to be happy. because there's no use for Frisky anymore.
We, did we make it through today without Advil?
Yeah, that's right. That's a whole nother podcast. We'll we'll go into spouse, husband, wife teaching teams, and I'll invite my ex on the podcast. That would be one that everybody in Texas that knows me would tune into. If I'd invite my ex to be on the podcast, and we could talk about husband wife teaching teams, and
That's
that would actually be a good podcast because we still
I'll,
talk.
I'll let you put that together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Derek's like, I'm not even going to be on that podcast.
You're safe. You don't need me for that one.
We'll get my ex there, and then Rick will get her into the feed, and all of a sudden Derek will go, chunk. Derek, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Rick will go, Derek's gone. Go on the air. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah. So send me a message if you think that'll be a good idea. Send me a message. I want an email because most of my band director friends know my
We
ex.
know.
We know my ex. And okay, we won't go any further. So also having and I got better at this the older I got, difficulty with delegation.
Right.
And then we get to feeling like everyone around us are idiots because we delegated and they can't do it right. And then sometimes, I don't know, it's a complicated situation. And again, could be a whole nother telecast or podcast to this. But I can do it better and quicker if I do it myself.
I get it.
Yeah. And I remember going on the trailer at Wiley and I had a really good load crew and I kind of moved around and did some things. And finally the load master, we picked that up from C-130 pilots because we're next to Dice Air Force Base. But the kid is the load master. He looked at me and go, Mr. Lenny, you're kind of in the way. Could you go do some band director things somewhere else?
That's funny.
I can do that. So I went somewhere else and did band director things. And I realized real quick, I wasn't needed. They had a system. They didn't need me interfering.
Are you familiar with the term schlepping?
Yes.
So that's what kind of how we affectionately refer to what we do as ed reps, particularly around summer repair time or time to return it. And it's almost like a game to see how much you can put in a space that it doesn't look like it will fit in, which reminds me of a band trailer.
It's like a high-powered Tetris game.
Right. You learn how to play Tetris or Jenga, as the case may be, as you unload. But, and there really is kind of you learn how to do it. And you learn what fits where and how to do this and how to do that. But when I was not the road guy anymore and I was watching ed reps do this, I was like, let me show you how you could do that better.
Yeah. Alternate those French horn cases.
As opposed to, are they getting the job done?
Yeah.
Are they doing it safely? And are they respecting the property of whichever school they're at? So shut up and go do something else that you need to do.
Right. Why waste 15 minutes with people who are doing a job when you know what they're going to do the next day? They're going to go back to the way they've been doing it.
Right. If
They're
you're
not
not supervising. Yeah.
Well, as soon as you walk off there, and I know they did this to me. They would admit it now because I'm retired. But as soon as I'd tell them how I needed something done, then especially students and sometimes staff, then I'd walk away and the next day they just go back to how they did it. So, yeah, Lenny came out and said this, but whatever. Let's just do it the way we've done it for a month.
But you know what? One of two things. It's experiential. Once you do it wrong, you go, oh, well, the old man was right.
Yeah.
Or two, what was it? I lost my second point.
He was full of crap.
Well, they say that regardless.
Yeah, that's true.
Or this is what I was going to say.
At the top.
You figure out somebody had a better idea than you. The way they did it actually worked. It was awesome.
And you incorporate it.
Right.
But then you never give them credit in the future.
Quit it. Now you're creating more problems. But my point is, let them do their job. You quit. Find something else to stress over.
Yeah.
So anyway,
there's plenty because I know what you sort of do for a living, and you kind of know what I sort of do for a living. I'll obsess over a videotape for 2 hours.
Yep.
When I could probably do it in 15 minutes, and they wouldn't know much difference. But something in me is like, no, there's things going on here. I got to figure this out. So I'll listen to it 5 times, and I'll take a legal pad and take all these notes. And I'm thinking, what am I doing?
Right.
What am I doing?
Exactly.
I don't know. We're just weird people, Derek. I'm sorry. This is the podcast of weird people. We're going to change the title.
But it's a safe place.
It's a safe place. We have tens of listeners. It's exciting. Everyone's already turned it off by now. Either that or they're intensely interested now. These two weird old men trying to figure out what they're doing in life. Okay, let's go back to the podcast. Okay,
Well, let me say this though. I hope that
no, no, no.
everybody
We're going back to no. I'm kidding.
can say, "Yeah, I recognize a little me in that,"
Yeah,
because I think there's a little of it in everybody.
yeah. Unless you're certain directors that I know personally that that have no problems whatsoever in anything
Ever.
in life ever. Their bands are always perfect.
Yeah.
Their their wives are always pretty, and their kids are always above average.
Yep. I know those guys.
All right. Signs and symptoms, as if we need symptoms. We've already talked about how pathetic we are.
We've talked about how
Yeah.
sad we are.
We're going to divide it into three categories because I'm going to pretend I'm a Baptist minister and I have 3 points
Okay.
to make.
Got your 3
Okay.
points.
One is internal, persistent worry, excessive self criticism, feelings of restlessness, and being constantly on edge. I'll tell you a confession. I'd get home at 3 in the morning from an away football game, and Mike Lenny would sit there and watch TV till the sun came up, eating an entire large pepperoni pizza and consuming a 6 pack of beer.
Wow. It's a
Pathetic.
healthy response.
Because I just had so much the day before. I started at 6 in the morning and I finished at 3 in the morning. You do the math.
Right. Right.
There was not a time during that moment that I was not on edge doing everything. And that was my way of coping with it. And then I was young enough, I'd get up and mow the yard.
Yep.
I'd get off the couch and mow the yard. Then I'd go to the band hall, get some things done. I'd go home and collapse for like 6 hours, wake up and eat supper,
Yep.
dinner, whatever you want to call it, and go back to bed and sleep, and then wake up Monday morning and start the same pathetic pattern again.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw that out there. If that's what you're doing, we'll get to what you need to do, how to get help here in a
That
second.
might be a sign.
I was too I don't know. I just too much of a trumpet player to ask for help. Okay. Physical things, you always feel
Mike,
tired.
let's stop there for a second.
Okay.
You did that because that's what you thought we did.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I mean, I grew up with my dad saying, if you're going to cry, I'm going to give you something to cry about.
Yeah, but even in our community, yeah, that's part of being a band director. That's what we
Yeah,
do.
it's what we do. We're supposed to be miserable. No, we're not.
Right. And same
Go Dave Ramsey on you.
same type of thought process. I would find myself trying to enjoy a movie in the evening,
Oh God.
and I couldn't because there was too many things that I felt like I was not getting done.
And you go through them in your mind.
Right, and I
You make
don't
lists
even
in
know
your
what the
brain.
movie's about.
And if you're brave enough with new technology, you get out your phone and you start adding things to your list
Right.
because that's a coping mechanism. If I put on my list, I don't have to think about it, but then I keep thinking about it.
Right.
But
But-
don't accept that as the normal, guys.
And there was no time to relax and enjoy a life. It was all about the pressure of whether it was perfectionism or somebody's going to figure out I'm not going to be as good as I need to be if I let myself relax.
Yeah.
So sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh no,
jump
you're
in there,
good.
but
You're good. And the
signs and symptoms.
last of these three, after the internal and external things happening, physical. You're tired all the time, headaches, muscle tension, sleep disturbances, digestive issues.
Digestive issues. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just constant heartburn.
Upset stomach.
Yeah, and I hate to be so blunt, but bouts of constipation alternated with diarrhea.
Yeah.
And because your body's just your mind and body physically doesn't know what to do. Because, and I know it sounds weird if someone listens to this and they're a cardiac surgeon and they're going, my God, all he does is teach kids how to play noisemakers and bounce around the field. There's something about it, you guys and gals out there, that it is anxiety. And I'm not going to say it's as anxious as a cardiac surgeon.
Right.
Don't put me in that category. Okay.
Sure.
But we have our own level of we think it's normal, and we exist in that pathetic universal attitude of we're supposed to be miserable but look content all the time.
So the old saying is, this is what you do, not what you are. But I don't think music educators, band directors, in my experience, understand that this is who we are all the time.
Yeah.
And we worry about what people think about who we are all the time.
Yeah, and to get out of this portion in a way, the last thing to add to it is, we've done this to ourselves. The guys I used to visit with in the coffee shop at the music store that were at that time in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, they would do a Monday night practice from 6 to 8 o'clock. They would do sectionals during quote study halls during the school day, and
Mhm.
then they would go to a football game. And then Saturday they'd hang out at the music store. And those men and gentlemen, mostly men because of the time of history it was, but
Right.
some women as well. Now it's about half and half. And in fact, women are the better band directors. They cope with us better. But those men had lives. Then Eric Rath, a good friend of mine in Canyon, I called this out on a previous podcast, and he sent me a message. He goes, "Quit stepping on my toes."
Hmm.
Because I said, then all of a sudden we decided we needed indoor winds and indoor percussion, and we needed to be like DCI, and we needed an 8 hour rule where we rehearsed, and we needed 15 invitationals, and we needed to do area and regionals and state marching and BOA. We needed a color guard contest. We needed full blown drum major auditions. You guys out there that are young, there's a time we just picked 2 kids in our band, by the way.
Hmm.
We just said, you and you meet me after class. I want you to be drum majors next year. What do I do? You wave your arms, I'll teach you how to do it, and you do things I tell you to do. Okay. That was
Okay.
it.
Yep.
Now they're meant to be maestros. They have to have tempo recognition. They have to be such high level prolific musicians. And so we do this to ourselves. I'm just saying, I don't know if we can close that box, put things back in that box. I don't think so. But we got to figure out how are we going to deal with it.
But the problem is I think we project it onto our kids
Mm-hmm.
and we create mini us,
Mm-hmm.
and they think that's the way it's supposed to be. So I'll be quiet and let you
No,
keep
no.
going. I just
And our kids in the end part of my career, we finally made a decision as a staff that, if it's a color guard contest, a regional, like a regular one, the only person needed to go is the color guard person. I didn't need to go to that. I need to be with my son at his track meet
right.
during that time. I need to go do something else. If it's a band invitational going to San Angelo, color guard instructor had some things, family things going on, don't come to it.
Right.
We would, I hate to say it, but we'd take turns in that stressful environment. And it meant that we had to pick up the slack on some of the color guard things, drama that would happen. But
Sure.
it was a choice we were willing to make. You know, Luke and I had a good routine towards our last couple of years when he worked with me that I would go to half the out of town playoff games. He'd go to the other half.
Yeah.
And we never talked about it with the kids. And where I fell into a snafu with it, we were at state marching. I made the comment to the drum major who later became my daughter in law. I said, "Hey, Brenna, look, it's the only time all the kids show up, state marching."
Hmm.
She goes, "It's the only time all the directors show up."
Wow.
I was like, "Thanks."
But Mike, we got to fight for our mental health. We got to fight for our
And
normalcy.
she knew what we were doing. She was close enough,
Sure.
Austin and I, to know what was going on, but she couldn't help but give me that
No,
zoom.
I get it. You got it taught you how to speak in the future.
Mhm. Don't throw glasses, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Don't throw rocks.
Don't throw glass at brick houses.
That too is a symptom of burnout. You're so confused and dehydrated, you don't even know what you're doing anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about the real important part.
Okay.
Okay, how to get help. We kind of touched on it that a lot of us, and this is, I hate to be so misogynistic, but it's a real male thing. Okay, I don't need help. You know.
See, I don't listen. I'm going to push on you a little bit.
Okay.
Don't apologize for that. It's a male trait
Okay.
more so than a female
Yeah.
trait, in my opinion.
I mean, a lot of us will not go to a doctor unless we're almost dead.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, well, I can't use the restroom, and I can't sleep, and I can't eat. But overall, I'm feeling okay. So I think I'm going to wait a week and see if this
I think
passes.
I can make it. Push through. Push through.
You're stupid. Where it's like you go to the doctor, they go, "Oh, well, let me give you this medicine. Let's do a CAT scan and we'll figure this out." For
Yeah.
3 days later, you're feeling wonderful. The other way, a week later, you're twice as bad. Now
Right.
you can't think. Yeah, I don't know. I could go on and on because it's just in my blood to do that. But it's really nice. I do a full blown physical every 6 months.
Right.
And I tell you a true story. I went in to see one of my many doctors because now my doctors are more my
You have
social.
a roster?
Oh yeah, I have a medical team that keeps Mr. Lundy running, and I go in and they go, "Well, we're here to double check you for melanoma and skin cancer for your entire body. So go ahead and strip down. Here's a robe if you want to feel more comfortable. Go ahead and put on the robe." And I said, "By this time in my life, I've been naked so many times, and you've stuck things in every orifice of my body, and you've embarrassed me in any way possible, including having people who are studying medicine come to watch naked Mr. Lenny get taken care of. I have no sensitivity left. So you can just keep your robe. I'm just going to strip naked and I'm going to stand here. You come in with
Here
your
it is.
big nitrous bottles and you start burning crap off my body, buddy." And said, "I have no inhibitions. There's nothing left." And
Right.
so as a young man, I was that person who's like, "I don't want a doctor touching me." Now I'm like, the only way I'm going to live is if I submit myself to their total control. And that
Right.
means getting naked and standing there.
Yep.
And that's something mentally, you have to get mentally naked.
Yep.
You've got to be willing to go to a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. My son always reminds me there's one that is actually a medical doctor. I think it's psychiatrist that actually has a 4-year medical degree and can give prescriptions for medicine.
Right.
The other one is a legitimate degree, but it's not a medical doctor. So if you feel like your problem's more, I need to be maybe prescribed something, search out the one that you look it up, put it on Google.
Right.
It'll tell you in a second, but go to one that can actually give the prescriptions. Otherwise, the one that's more the therapist has to go through your primary physician. And then you get a lot more guesswork involved.
Right.
Then your primary physician's going, "Well, what level do we use?" Where I think it's a psychiatrist, where psychiatrists can go, "I was a Lexapro person.
Right.
Okay, I was on Lexapro for about a year, and then they weaned me off of it, and I've never been on it since. But I'm not going to be overly dramatic. It saved my life.
Yeah.
It's a therapy and Lexapro saved my life as a full time for a band director.
Right. So
Get help.
I think that see if you agree with what I'm about to say. You can disagree instantly, but at the least, find someone to talk to, whether it's a therapist or a psychologist.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't help, then maybe you need to go into somebody that can actually prescribe something for it. But my point is, nothing will solve nothing.
Yes. And I will say this too that probably 30% of my clinic business is talking to band directors and talking them off the ledge.
Sure, therapy.
It is. And it's not, I'm not a trained therapist, but we've gone through the same experience. So I can give some ideas and I can tell real quick if it's out of my wheelhouse
But
and
Mike,
say, you need to go see somebody or whatever. But sometimes it's real simple stuff of, hey, why don't you try this? Why don't you just try answering your email until 6 o'clock and then don't touch it till 7 the next morning,
but I
no
think
matter what.
so much can be solved just vocalizing to somebody that's been there.
Yes. I'm glad you said that. And it's hard to believe knowing me, but just me just telling myself to shut up and just listen to them.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
I I
I hate
think
to get
that's
too
so important.
philosophical, but that's why prayer is so powerful.
Sure.
Because I know God is listening, but He doesn't interrupt us right there.
And so many times
He
we can't
speaks to us
figure out what it is. We can't pinpoint the source
until we talk it.
until we say something out loud to somebody and we hear ourselves say it.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a simple fix. Dude, all you have to do is let somebody else do that.
Yeah.
If it gets done, let somebody else do that. Or, wow, that's pretty deep.
Yeah. And that's kind of a big picture look at it, but on a daily basis, I like to even tell directors this. There is called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And
Okay.
that sounds real impressive. Um, so when I say it, I feel really important.
You're gonna say
Um,
you sound smart. I
I
gotta
do.
give you that one.
Yeah, and I need a lot to make me sound smart, but it's something as simple as breathing exercises and meditation. And I know that sounds like, let's burn some incense and candles and let's hum and
Yep.
stuff, but there is lots of really good information out there. Um, that can be accessed, and it doesn't take a long time. It can take 2 minutes
Yeah.
that you can go and sit in your car in the parking lot in 2 minutes, go through a set of breathing exercises, and I would feel better.
I gotta say, a lot of people give me grief about this watch. I'll tell people in the middle of a meeting, "I'm sorry, I'm standing up because my watch told me to."
Yeah,
But it has this reminder on it. The standing up is obviously for no clots in my leg, but it has a breathing thing. Every once in a while, it'll go, "Okay, stop for 30 seconds," and it will actually guide you through the breathing.
yeah,
And I used to think, "How stupid is this? I'm not doing this." And then I was like,
yeah.
"Okay,
I mean,
I'll do this."
I'm not from California.
But now I find myself even in the car, if I'm stressing, I'll just stop and do the deep.
It does work. So you guys and gals out there who've never tried it, even callous old man Lenny will tell you, and not quite as old, but still callous Derek will
Well,
tell you that it does work. It
the
does work.
skeptic, yeah, Derek
Skeptic.
the skeptic will say
Yeah.
it actually helps regulate and slows me down and I feel better. I
Yeah.
mean, I can at least stop and go, all right, how do I attack this?
Yeah. And sometimes it does require medication. And
Yep.
sometimes
I'm not discounting that.
we
Yeah.
see that as a weakness. And
Right.
it's not. If I walked out of this building today and fell against the curb and broke my arm, I wouldn't go, man, I guess I got to tough it out.
You're saying
Man, I see a bone sticking out, but
it'll get
hey,
better. Rub
hey,
some dirt
Derek,
on it.
I'll call Derek. Derek, come pull on this.
Put-
Set this thing for me. You know,
That's
I got to take care of this. Let me tie. Let put a rope to my wrist and tie it to the door handle.
you
Let's see
see
if I
that?
can set my forearm. You know,
Then
part
I'll
of
wrap a 2 by 4 around it.
how stupid can we be?
Yeah.
There's nothing weak about saying to a trained physician or psychiatrist who is a trained physician. Um, Hope I'm getting those terms right. If not, I'll ask my
You
son.
are.
Okay. So I feel like, is there a medication that I could try at a certain level that would make this better?
Right.
And see what they say. They might go, I don't think so in your case. Let's try this instead. Or they might go, I'm kind of glad you brought that up because that's been crossing through my mind. Let's
Yeah.
try this particular. Trust me out there, guys, it's a very much a dartboard of, how much you're going to take and what type of medicine. So
Right.
don't think it's a magic pill. You'll take it and come back a week later and go, I don't feel, I think I feel worse. And they'll say, okay, let's get you off that. Let's go to this then. Let's go to this type of setting.
Or let's try a different dosage. Yeah.
And they'll dial it in. If you give them a chance and give them a proper feedback, they'll dial it in for you.
And
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, Mike, I have a problem with that. Not with your statement. I have to fight through my own, conspiracy, big pharma, just trying to get everybody medicated and or money,
Yeah.
and go into it with an open mind of this person's trying to help me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we've got to remember that we can get into all kinds of conspiracy theories, but the doctor or psychiatrist doesn't make any money off your prescription.
There you go.
They don't make any money off of it. They're like a car salesman trying to make money off your oil change at Avis Quick Lube. They don't have any vested interest in that.
Right.
Okay. They have a vested interest in you becoming a better person.
Sure.
So try, and it's hard, but try to keep that in the forefront. Okay. If you can make this happen, which I never could pull this off as a full time band director, some kind of lifestyle change, incorporating some kind of regular exercise, even if it's 2 times a week. Uh, Practice what I like to call mindfulness. Whatever you're doing right then, try to give it 100% effort. If it's
Be present. Yeah.
it's watching a movie with your family, be mindful of that. If it's eating a nice dinner, be mindful of each bite and don't be thinking about the clarinet sectional on Monday. Okay. Ensuring sufficient sleep can significantly help, but that's
Yep.
hard as well when you're spending 21-hour days on a Friday and then because it's hard to play catch up, and it's difficult. I saw a meme that a good friend sent to me, that because we have this like texting group, that I hope this texting group never comes to the light of day because we send some pretty crazy stuff to each other. But one is this guy going, I just never get enough sleep. And the guy goes, have you ever thought about getting 8 hours by going to bed 8 hours before you have to get up? And he goes, no, can't do that.
Yep.
And that is us, isn't it? It's like,
Yep.
no, can't do
So,
that.
Mike,
That
I
makes
may
sense.
be self-incrimination here, but there are times that I'll be doing something in the office, in my home office, and I'll say, "Okay, I gotta get up at 7. It's only 12. I'm good." And I'll
Yeah,
get some more how much sleep can I function on as opposed to how
yeah.
much sleep is healthy?
And handling that lifestyle thing, there's time in my career when I would just work anywhere.
Yeah,
In the cab of my truck before junior high band. I would see if I could get out 3 emails and do something. You know what I mean? But now even I don't work near as hard. Trust me, I don't. But anything I do professionally is done at the desk in my studio. It's not in my car. It's not when I'm at Planet Fitness. It's not while I'm traveling to a clinic. Now, at a clinic, I'll set aside a time if I'm staying at a hotel that I will address all my professional things from 7 to 8:30.
yeah,
So I'll set it up as a time, and it gets to 8:30. If I don't accomplish them, heck, if they don't like it, they don't have to hire me again.
right,
It's a little different when you're the full-time band director. So stress management kind of deals into that. Don't let other people set your goals.
right.
You set your own
It
goals.
is a little different, but I'll tell you another sign and symptom if you wanna add this to your list. When my text alarm goes off or my phone rings and your wife looks at you and goes, "Who is it?"
Yeah,
That might be a sign that you're letting your work life bleed over. And I realize some of it's unavoidable. I'm not saying that.
yeah, but you got to keep it at a minimum.
Yeah.
And I know some guys that keep it at a maximum. I mean, they have a work telephone,
Yep. I
and
can't
when
I
they
can't
leave
keep
it,
up with one phone.
yeah, when they leave at 5:30, it gets plugged in the charger and left at the band hall. And when they get back to the band hall the next day, they unplug it and they plug their personal phone or they put it in their pocket and they'll deal with personal things through the day. But that work phone stays with them till they clock out
While they're at work. Yeah.
while they're at work and then they put it up. I know others that have phones they only use for, and I did this during the last 5 years of my career. I had a phone, a burner phone that I paid for minutes for, but it's all I used on out of town games and Disney trips.
Yep.
And so they couldn't call me on my personal. I would not answer them on my personal phone because it just got too cluttered. So that they just knew that, they just had to do it then. So, that's a lot of information. I think we've killed them. But closing statement, I just hope that my friends listening to this, I hope you guys will understand and ladies will understand that first, this is common.
Yeah.
This is common, not just marching band, but the middle school director that only does beginners, it's common. Second, there are ways to deal with it. So don't just accept it. Understand that it's common, but don't accept it.
Yeah.
That's my closing statement.
So mine is similar. You're not alone. This
Yeah.
is more common than you think, is how I would say that. And number two, don't stuff. The faster you can vocalize it, the faster you can share it, the faster you can get some feedback, the less impact it will probably have, especially when you get to be curmudgeon age.
Yeah. Yeah. And lifestyle changes helps a lot. Hey, Rick, can you shoot up that graphic of me in the picture from before? Can you hear me, Rick? Yeah. This is 50 pounds, 55 pounds later.
Wow.
Look at the face.
Yeah.
That's 55 pounds later. Um, A1C is under control. My blood pressure is now, I'm just going to brag on myself. It's my podcast. So I'm going to do what I want to do. Okay. So my blood pressure's under control. I take it every day. It's now hitting about 115 over 70. And I work out an hour and a half a day. And so I'm telling you, if you can get something done, man, make it happen because that's been a game changer for me.
So I'm thinking of the guy in Stripes, John Candy's character. My therapist says I swallow a lot of aggression along with a lot of pizzas.
It's like I love seeing the gym bros at Planet Fitness with the gallon water jugs. And it's like I've seen memes like I can't deal with my feelings, so I just go to the gym. I go to the gym and I make muscles. What do we do with bigger feelings? We make bigger muscles.
Bigger muscle. That's what,
There's some truth there. Sometimes I'm real stressed out. I'll just go get on that stair climber for 20 minutes, do an hour on the treadmill, and do a full upper body routine on weightlifting. And 2.5 hours later, I'll stumble out to my car and I feel pretty good.
yeah. So I'm going to wrap it up with this, if you'll let me. Um, eh,
Okay.
you brought up The Mandalorian in a previous
Yeah.
musical podcast, but one of the things they say is, "This is the way. This
This
has
is
always been the way." I don't think I think that so many of us in our profession look at the stress and the negatives as in, "This has always been the way."
yeah. We almost see it as a badge of honor.
Right, and as we watch everybody around us and our own health deteriorate and our quality of life diminish, somebody's just gotta step up and go, I need help.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do this anymore." And I think that what the point we're trying to make is there's so many of us that are willing to say, "Sure, let me tell you what I did, or let me tell you how it affected me or how I broke the cycle." So, don't be scared. Somebody will listen, somebody will understand. So, what did you call this? High performance anxiety? What you
Yeah, high performing anxiety. And it doesn't matter whether you're making threes or ones or you're state champion. This is an internal thing. This isn't results oriented, but high
was
performance anxiety.
I would almost subtitle that "Welcome to the Misery,"
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be. We appreciate you all. Look us up. We're glad to do whatever we can to help. And Mike, we'll talk about something else next week.
All right. Sounds good.